Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown! And today, we are looking at a brand new collaborative LP from Bell Witch and Aerial Ruin. So I'm gonna go ahead and rip a band-aid off right away and just tell you all straight up, I did not like 2017's Mirror Reaper. I do appreciate where the band was going emotionally on that record. I think they brought a certain honesty and transparency to Funeral Doom that the genre had seriously been lacking for a long time. But holy shit, it was so lethargic. It was so slow. It was so monotonous. And at nearly 90 minutes long, calling it cinematic suddenly isn't a compliment. It's a fucking fact. I bring this up not only for the sake of clarity and transparency in regards to my feelings towards Bell Witch, but also to make it all the more potent when I tell you that I was actually pretty excited for Stygian Bough. Mostly because of the pretty interesting sonic concoction that the band would be brewing alongside dark folk musician Aerial Ruin, bringing in some dark folk, Americana, even progressive influences into the sound to expand upon Bell Witch's already emotionally heavy sound, creating something very dreary, very somber, very revealing, and at times even making it feel a little bit more cosmic, a little bit larger than life. Like, think of it as Bell Witch still having their feet on the earth, but they look up and it's just a sea full of stars in the sky. And on top of that, structurally speaking, it looked as if Bell Witch was more willing to trim some excess fat on this record, with Stygian Bough opting not to play out in a single track in the fashion of Mirror Reaper, and also trimming down the album's runtime to 1 hour and 4 minutes, nearly 20 minutes shorter than the aforementioned Mirror Reaper. It's these things that for me make Stygian Bough a much more immediate record, and in turn much more immediately enjoyable, immersive, and cathartic. I'm not sitting here for a 90-minute Funeral Doom monster literally playing out like a funeral. There is genuine diversity, flavor, even flexibility to Stygian Bough, something I can't say not just for Mirror Reaper, but for any of Bell Witch's other releases. And it does all of this without compromising Bell Witch's unique ability to translate pain and trauma into music. And this is where I have to thank Aerial Ruin right off the bat, because he's not just another singer, another songwriter, another musician, another producer, a no-name collaborator on this thing. He is very much a part of Bell Witch at this point. He has successfully infused everything that people have enjoyed about Bell Witch with his unique take on dark folk and Americana music, almost coming off like the epic doom metal equivalent to an artist like Panopticon, which on some level I don't think is too much of a coincidence, seeing as how Aerial Ruin has worked extensively with Panopticon in the past, even having made a collaborative LP with Panopticon released earlier this year. I think with this in mind, the dark folk influences could throw some Bell Witch fans off guard, particularly those expecting a continuation of Mirror Reaper's sound and formula. But I think that once Bell Witch fans really begin to immerse themselves in this album's unique little universe, they won't mind so much. Particularly in moments where Bell Witch and Aerial Ruin take full advantage of this really unique sonic concoction. Take, for instance, opening track The Bastard Wind, which pairs some very slow-paced acoustic tremblings with some more epic doom leads and some hallowed, mournful vocals. Or the two-parter epic Heaven Torn Low, which intentionally uses the contrast that these genres inherently create side by side to make something a little bit more powerful and dramatic. As with part 1, The Passage focusing heavy on Aerial Ruin's tortured, soulful dark folk, with part 2, The Toll, taking a much more oppressive turn. Unfortunately, what hurts this album for me is the sound mix. It's very muddy and very foggy at the same time. You never really feel the full sonic weight of the guitars and the drums, and the bass basically just bleeds into noise and mud. And everything just feels really diminished, almost as if Bell Witch and Aerial Ruin are kind of scared or holding back. Even at the highest possible volume I could achieve across a wide variety of devices, I just never really felt the full weight of this musical world. And considering how ambitious this concept is, considering how powerful these artists have been individually, that itself is a big disappointment. And while I give credit to Bellwitch for trimming as much fat as possible off of Stygian Bough, there are moments where this album still felt very, very lethargic, and I did kind of sit here thinking to myself, this is cool, but maybe they should hurry the fuck up. Like, this message goes out not just to Bellwitch, but to every fucking doom metal band out there. Just because it's doom doesn't mean you have to move slower than a snail. Like, I'm not asking you to make a super fucking explosive thrash metal record, but just, can we get to the point? I would probably give this album a 3 to 5, and we're leaning towards maybe a slightly unenthusiastic one. Because as much as I like this concept, as much as I like so much of where Bellwitch and Aerial Ruin are going emotionally, sonically, atmospherically, the sound mix just really brings it down. This should be dynamic. This should be bursting out of your speakers like thunder from the sky. But instead it's like a light trickle of rain on a slightly humid day. If I am to believe this title's implication that there will be a Volume 2 at some point, these are issues I would love to see rectified. These are decisions even that I'd like to see justified if this is intentionally how they made the album. I would say, all things considered, I still enjoy this much more than Mirror Reaper. So it's got that going for it. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell if this will be an album I come back to a lot, even as much as I enjoy and praise aspects of this album. Perhaps we'll have to see what a Volume 2 would bring to the table before we speak definitively on this. But for now, 3 to 5. There's a lot of cool ideas and concepts on here for fans of Bellwitch and Aerial Ruin, for fans of dark folk, for fans of doom metal, for fans of somber, melancholic music. And while I may not share the excitement for a Volume 2 that I may have shared in anticipation for a Volume 1, I'm nonetheless very curious to see what this collaboration will be doing in the future. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? Thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately, and you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.